Cool. I think we might just kick off. Cool. So just a bit of housekeeping before we start. So you can use the chat and the Q&A if you have any questions along the way. Oscar is here to answer any questions in the chat as we go on. But if there are any questions that have to wait until the end, we also have a bit of a section that we can answer the questions then. So I think we'll just jump straight into introductions. Mallory, if you don't mind. Cool. So I'm Hulda. I'm the head of client services here at the student room. I've been here for almost 4 years now, so coming up to 4 years, so a long time. But predominantly work on making successful client campaigns. And then, of course, I oversee the client services team as well. And Mallory, if you want to go for yours.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'm Mallory, and I joined the student room in 2019, work with the client services team and help to coordinate client campaigns and also to look after our official reps. So I may have spoken to some of you in bespoke training sessions or the weekly training sessions on Wednesdays as well.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah, like I mentioned, Oscar is our client services executive, and he's going to answer our questions. There he is. Yeah, answer any questions if they're in the chat. Amazing. Cool. Next slide, please. Cool. So just a quick overview of what we're going to be covering today. So I'm going to talk quickly about the University Partner Pack and what it contains. Then I'm going to do a quick recap of Clearing 2020 and just some stats from there. And then we're going to jump into the rep training, which Mallory is going to go through, and then key takeaways, and then any questions or comments or feedback that you have for us. So if we go to the next slide. And the next one, please. So Claire, yeah, so we're going to upload the slides probably to TSR Matters, so we can send a link afterwards. But yeah, in essence, so what is the UP? So the UP at a basic level consists of 3 official rep accounts, keyword alerts where we send you emails based on keywords that you've identified that you would like to respond to on site. You get an editable guide on TSR. We road blog both your forum and your guide with ads that we make in-house that kind of aid in the journey that students go through to kind of build your brand up. We also promote and drive traffic to the forum and the guide, and then we give you frequent in-depth reporting at a minimum on a monthly basis, just to show how it's all going. But it can also include some offsite remarketing, so remarketing to your audience off the student room, a lead pack on the uni guide, conversion tracking, and then additional display inventory. And then the next slide. So Claire, the UP stands for University Partner Pack. I will add that into the slides before they go live, so it'll be in there as well. So why is the UP important? So it gives your institution an authoritative and trustworthy voice, and you're giving prospective students that confidence that the information that they're engaging with is of value, and you're also humanizing their educational journey with the official rep. So if we go to the next slide, I just wanted to cover a bit about the official rep. So it's an extremely powerful tool that allows you to be at the heart of the conversation on TSR and to engage directly with students. And by engaging directly with students, you're able to give them relevant information and then also influence their decision-making. And you can also educate them on future possibilities of what we can do. And in essence, what we like to call it is engage, influence, and then convert them, so they convert into becoming a student at your institution. And the next slide. So we're going to go into the recap of Clearing 2020. So just a quick one on where the data is coming from. So it's from 1st of July to 31st of August last year. So last year was obviously a little bit different than usual, but most of the activity happened within those time frames. So next slide. The TSR audience, I'm going to cover off first. So we had almost 14 million users on site, which is phenomenal over that time period. We had over 60,000 members posting on the site. And of those 60 members, they managed to post 305,000 times, which is a massive amount of posts. And a solid dwell time of 2 minutes and 39 seconds. And then into the wrap behavior last year. So the official wrap behavior, so we had 144 active official reps posting on the site in July and August. The 144 reps made 7,175 posts, and those 7,000 posts got over 7.9 million post views, which is phenomenal engagement, and just really shows that the audience was looking for that authority on site and wanting to know that information. And we also had 524 private messages sent from the official reps as well. So I have a little poll, actually. Katie, if you don't mind, can you go back, Mallory? Sorry. Thank you. Katie, do you mind posting the poll, please? Cool. So just with all of the polls that are going to be in this webinar, all of the answers are anonymous. So if you want to answer that, and then once ready, we can talk a bit about the results. Hopefully everyone has had enough time to select their. Katie, maybe you could close the poll now. Thank you. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, so nobody felt that they had great engagement, so you're in the right place, which is great. And yeah, 30% felt that they did a little bit. Yeah, cool. So let's make sure that this year we feel like we all have had excellent engagement. So if we go to the next slide. Thank you. So yeah, so with the official reps, the 144 only made up about 21.21% of all of the active official reps. So yeah, around 79% of all of our active official reps didn't post anything over July and August last year, which is a huge number, and maybe something to think about when you think about the 3 official reps that you get with your university partner pack or up. Yeah, to try to make the best use of them and to get students involved in posting and all of that type of stuff. But yeah, of those 144, 36.8% posted 9 posts or less. And then that figure actually went up and more people posted less in August as well, which I thought was super interesting. And then only 22.92% posted 20 posts or more in July, and 13.19% posted 20 posts or more in August. So I wonder if August got very busy for everyone across the board and people just didn't have time to post on site. But yeah, maybe something to think about when you're thinking of the strategy for your rep coming into clearing now. But some good news, of those posts, of the official reps that actually posted, the posts were up 36% year on year, which is really good. And 130% up year on year for the views, which again goes back to my 7.9 million post views, that the students really, really want this information and they want to know what the official rep has to say. And then the private messages were up also 39% year on year. So that is me. So I'm going to hand over to Mallory now to do the training.
Thank you. Yes, so I'm going to take you through the official rep training. And just to give you an overview, I'll firstly be going through how you can best support students this year during clearing. So thinking about monitoring your own forum and getting involved in the conversation there to engage with applicants and prospective students. And then I'll go through the best way to get involved in conversation across the rest of the site so that you have an authoritative, trusted presence. And I'll show you some really good example posts from the official reps where they help applicants make balanced and informed decisions in previous years. As then I'll talk about some things to avoid as well, to ensure that your posts are received in the best way and that you get the most out of engaging with students on the site. So just in general, during clearing, it really helps to have an increased presence on the site, and starting from now really, because as Hulda mentioned, we have already started to see an increase in the number of posts and the number of views overall. And there's a particular focus on applications and results in terms of the conversation that happens across the site. So students may be still exploring their options for university and thinking of applying through clearing, or they may be planning for what they'll do if they don't get the grades that they're expecting, whether that's higher or lower grades. So some examples of the things that you may come across on site include questions or concerns about the process in general, but also more specific queries such as accommodation options or arranging student finance, or students may be concerned about living in a city that they may not have had the chance to visit. They may have even had a change of heart and be thinking about switching courses, and they just kind of want some reassurance that they have made the right decision for them as well, or planning what to do if anything goes wrong. So it is important for students to be able to speak to your rep account as an authoritative source of information so that they feel supported and they know that they can ask your rep a question if they have one. So that's why it's useful to start building your presence from now to ensure that you're really embedded into the community and become a trusted voice on the site. So firstly, thinking about monitoring your own forum. This is a space where all of the conversation is directly related to your university. So it's definitely important to keep an eye on this. Firstly, I'd ensure that all of your sticky threads at the top are relevant, up to date and monitored, and particularly your applicant 2021 thread, because in here you can congratulate applicants and those who know that they'll be joining you in September. So that's a really nice place to build your community and just get applicants talking to each other, and then they'll know that they can ask you any questions if they have them as well. And if you haven't already, then have a look at your other sticky threads, because you can set up some new ones or just update these if they need updating from previous years. Some examples of which may include frequently asked questions thread, an ask a current student thread, one with information about accommodation options, and then one or two for just kind of general support such as wellbeing tips or revision tips. And having a good set of sticky threads just shows that you are aware of what students are wanting to know and you're providing information that's useful to them. So it encourages discussion within these threads to build your community and allows you to engage with students, whether you're a student yourself, a student ambassador, or a member of staff. And even if someone doesn't have a question right now, if they're interested in your university and clicking into your forum, they'll see your rep as an active member of the community, and they'll see your set of sticky threads at the top and be able to click into those to be part of the conversation. Also, make sure that you do answer any direct questions that are posted in your forum as separate threads. And some of these may be from 2022 applicants as well. And it's definitely important to answer any of their questions, as well as thinking about the applicants for this year. But specifically thinking about clearing, if you haven't done so already, then we would recommend setting up a clearing thread in your forum. And as soon as possible, really, because clearing does open on the 5th of July. And this can be a space for students who are reconsidering their options or who've not secured a place at university yet, to see what you have available and to find out if this could be the right choice for them by having the opportunity to speak to your rep on a one-to-one basis. So this thread should provide contact details and information such as registering an interest in clearing vacancies, but it should also make it really clear that you're happy to answer any questions that students have in this thread as well. You could even keep this updated as and when your clearing courses fill up, if possible, just so all of the information is there for someone. So that's just an example of a really nice clearing thread from St George's. It includes all of the relevant information, makes it clear that they're happy to answer questions, and gives them where to go for some more information as well. We will add all of the clearing threads to a clearing mega thread, and we'll post that in the main applications, clearing and UCAS forum, so students will be able to easily access all of the different clearing threads, and so it's all in one place for them. And so as soon as you do have your clearing thread set up, let us know, either by emailing client services or posting in your private feedback thread on site, and we'll be able to make that sticky for you and add it to the mega thread as well. So this is an example of the kind of discussion that may come up in your clearing thread, particularly closer to the time and around results day, because it does become more stressful. Students may be a little bit more impatient than usual, but this is a really nice example of a rep understanding that and engaging with the student on a human level to kind of let them know that they understand their situation, but they're doing everything they can to process the applications. So it hopefully reassures the student not to worry that they haven't heard back yet, and the university is still going through the applications. So you can see here that the student does admit that they are just a bit stressed right now, but the rep understands that and communicates with them really nicely. It's also nice because even though you're just responding to one student, a lot of students are going to be in this situation. So if they're reading through this thread, then they'll feel reassured as well. And so you're able to help out a lot more people than you think. This example is of a student who is posted in Loughborough University's forum, and they're wondering if it's possible to change course at all. So the rep here has responded to the student and just been honest about the fact that it is unlikely, because their clearing vacancies did fill up yesterday. However, it could still be worth emailing the admissions team just to make sure. And they've provided both an email and a phone number for the student to get in contact. So again, that's just a really nice example of clear communication, being honest about the fact that it may not be possible, but to still definitely get in touch to make sure. So now I will show you some examples of questions that may come up across the site in various different forums and how best to answer them. Firstly, I just wanted to do a poll to find out which answer you would be most likely to give to this student here. So I'll read out the student's question. They've said, I have just finished my mocks and have received my results in June. In computer science, I have achieved an A star overall. In maths and physics, I have achieved C's, which are poor for me. Is there any way for me to increase my predicted grades before I apply to uni? And if there isn't, what good unis could I apply and get accepted to with around an A* CC? So there are just two responses there. If you could just choose which one you'd be most likely to give, that'd be great. Cool. Katie, I'll let you close that when the responses have come in. No worries, so there is quite a lot of text to read through from each response, so we can give it a minute or two. Okay, just a few more seconds, so if everyone could just vote if you haven't done so already. Cool, thank you. Yeah, that's really, really encouraging to see that the majority of you do know what kind of thing we're looking for in the responses, which is great. So I'm just going to close that. Because the correct answer is A. This is a better response for a number of reasons, and hopefully the examples that I take you through in a moment will help reinforce the reasoning behind that. But in terms of this example, it's really good because it starts by showing an interest in what the student would like to study, and it asks them for some more information on the universities they've already looked into. So when you're responding to a student, it is really important to try to find out the context around what they're saying to ensure that you give the best advice. The rep here has also given them some suggestions to try to increase their predicted grades, and they've offered the opportunity to ask them any questions if they do have them. Whereas in comparison, if I just go back to this slide, the other examples only mentioned what's possible at their university, and it just kind of reads too much like an advertisement, which will have more of a negative effect. So as I say, the examples I'm going to go through now will be from across the site, and this is just a list of forums that they're from, just for reference after when you'll set the site afterwards. But they come from different forums such as Applications Clearing and UCAS, and then A-levels and BTEC, but also just general chat around university life. So it's just showing you that it's important to get involved in conversation across lots of different forums. So now I'll go through the examples of helping students to make informed decisions. So this example here is of a rep who is helping a student understand what options are available to them. And a user has posted about their concern about getting into university with their current predicted grades. But the rep here from Liverpool Hope University has been able to reassure the student that it's definitely still an option. They may need to consider a foundation year, but it's definitely still a possibility to go to university. They've given what their university offers as an example, but it's not kind of solely focused on the benefits of studying at Liverpool Hope. It's just providing a student with the information that they might be interested in. And you can see from their response that they are now interested in this, and they probably just didn't know that this was an option before, but the rep's been able to tell them about this choice, and so they're starting to show an interest. So the aim here is just to start the conversation to help students understand what their options are. And you can give an example of what your university offers if it's applicable, without it being the sole focus, to ensure that it doesn't come across in the wrong way. And this is just one example, but the reasoning why it's a good post can be relevant to lots of different situations. Across all posts, you should just be aiming to understand what the student is asking and their own situation, and then provide an insight into the things that they're wanting to know to help them find out if it's one, a possibility, and two, the right choice for them. So here a student is wondering if it's possible to arrange accommodation and finance if they apply to university through clearing. They haven't mentioned any universities in particular, but the rep for Reading has responded to help the student out and reassure them that it's definitely still possible to arrange accommodation and finance. Lots of other people will have been in this situation, so that hopefully reassures them. They've recommended that they register their interest for clearing now, so that gives them something to go and do. And they've asked a question then at the bottom as well to show interest and to continue the conversation with the student. Another nice thing about this post in particular is that it's signed off with a name and something about the rep as well. So it just helps to keep it on a human level, and it's more relatable. If students know exactly who they're speaking to, they'll feel more comfortable and more likely to engage with the post. So another example of something that you may come across, especially right now, or some students may still be making their decision, are comparison threads. Or this could be if a student has had a change of heart and wants to now consider another university through clearing, for example. And so a student may be trying to decide between 2 or 3 different universities. And in this example, it's the University of Exeter and the University of Liverpool. They've mentioned that Exeter is providing a scholarship, but they're posting on site just to try and get some opinions and advice from other people. And this is a lovely response from the University of Liverpool student rep. They firstly congratulate the student and they acknowledge that the other advice that's been given in the thread, because other members of the community are likely to get involved and offer their advice too. And then they refer to what the student has mentioned about the scholarship, but they provide them with some other factors to consider as part of their decision as well. They've mentioned also that it would be great to hear from someone or a rep from Exeter. So it shows that they're not only on here to kind of promote or recruit for Liverpool, but they're there to help students find out if it is the right choice for them. So with comparison threads, it's best to only get involved if your university is one of those mentioned, because otherwise it would look too much like an advertisement if a completely different uni were to come in here and kind of mention what they have to offer. However, if they have specifically mentioned you, then it is a really great opportunity to find out from the student how you can help and provide them with an insight into what life at your university is like. Or perhaps it's a specific course and you can find out some information to tell them as much detail or kind of different things that they want to know that you can go away and find out, the better. So also, even though this response is from the University of Liverpool rep, the University of Exeter rep could come in here too and just kind of enter into a conversation to find out how they can both help out the student. And another example of something that you may come across on the site is helping students decide whether going to university this year is the right choice for them, or whether they perhaps want to consider a gap year. So in this example, the student is looking for some advice on whether to go to university if they get rejected from their firm choice, or whether to take a gap year and reapply next year. So Edge Hill is one of the insurance choice universities that they mention. So the rep for Edge Hill has responded to this student to help them figure out what's best for them. And they haven't focused solely on what Edge Hill has to offer or tried to sell them on anything, because the student is already interested in this university. They likely have already done a lot of research and know about the university. So the rep is understanding of that and instead provides advice based on the student's concerns. For example, reassuring them that age shouldn't be something to worry about when attending university, and to perhaps visit an open day if they haven't done so already, to help them get a feel for each. So the benefits of kind of posting like this, it's important to remember that even though it may not feel like a direct benefit because you're not able to kind of directly mention the things that your university has to offer, but you get a real benefit from the chance to engage with this student one-on-one and to be really honest in your conversation on site and to give them genuine support. So a lot of people may be in a similar situation to the one student that you're responding to, and will now be reading this thread and will see your rep and your university in a really positive light. So this has then wider benefits for the future if they then are thinking of studying in the future, or will influence how they perceive a university and speak to it to family and friends, for example, as well. And then, as mentioned at the beginning as well, students are more likely to be kind of worried around this time and needing some advice or emotional support perhaps as well. So do provide this across the site where you can. And this is a lovely example from Loughborough, where a student has mentioned that they've been struggling due to illness, and the rep reassures them that they're there to support them. They normalise the student's experience, and so they know that they're not alone. And this is really encouraging. It humanises the institution. It shows that they understand, and the student knows that they have that support. Cool. Now I just wanted to touch a little bit on dealing with any negativity on site, so whether that's something said about your university or the perception of it, as well as being honest about any mistakes that may be made over clearing. So firstly, in this example, a student is concerned about other people's comments on a university when they themselves have seen this as a really positive choice. So they're essentially looking for some reassurance. So I'll just let you read through that. But yeah, as I say, they're just looking for some reassurance that this is a good choice for them. And the rep for Bradford has responded to the student and they understand what the student is saying. And so they're able to focus on the positive aspects of the university that the students mentioned and kind of reinforce that this is a good choice for them. So it allows the user to speak directly with the university and hear some anecdotal feedback as well from the course they're interested in. You can see they've mentioned about the positives from students who have been on that course there. And they have the opportunity to ask them any questions if they do have any further concerns or questions or anything like that. So this should hopefully just put their mind at ease against any negative opinions of other people. And this example relates to being honest about mistakes. So clearing is a busy time and we're all aware of that. So mistakes may well happen. If you do come across this in relation to your university, then it is best to address the situation on site and just be honest about it rather than not say anything. So in this example, there's some confusion over a student who has received an adjustment offer, but they're being asked to release themselves into clearing, which shouldn't be needed. So the rep from Exeter has helped them out by contacting the admissions team. They've looked into this situation and they're trying to get some more information about what's happened throughout this thread. So from their response here, you can see that they've private messaged the student to try to rectify the situation more quickly, but they've also responded publicly to acknowledge that it has been dealt with, so that if anyone else is reading through this thread, they can see that it's been followed up with. And that's a really nice response to kind of apologize for any confusion, but to reassure the student that it should all be okay now. And the last example I have for now is about continuing to get involved in conversation across the site. So even if it's not directly related to applications or clearing. So for example, here a student is concerned about moving away from home, and they're looking for some advice about whether to move away or to stay at home. They haven't mentioned any universities in particular, but the rep for Staffordshire has responded to reassure the student. They understand their worry, and they've tried to reassure them by sharing their own personal experience and giving some suggestions, such as speaking to the university and about the financial side of things. They've also looped in the University of Liverpool student rep, who has, in a previous post, also provided their advice. So that's just quite a nice example of reps working together to support students across the site. And it then gives a positive perception of your university and your brand, and increases your presence across the site to become a trusted member of the community. So we will continue to go through more examples like this in the Wednesday rep training sessions. So if you do kind of want a refresher, or if you're new to posting on site, then do join those for some more examples similar to this one. Okay, so now I have another poll. If you could please choose which answer you think is the best from these options, and where a student has asked, when do I get to know what universities are available through clearing? I will just read out the responses for you. So A is X university is now available to help. If you're interested, call this number or visit our website. B is, hi, hope you're feeling proud of the hard work you put into your studies. If you'd like to check out the courses we have in clearing, please click here, call here, or apply online here. C is, hello, we're officially open for clearing. We'd like to take this opportunity to say we're thinking of students in this difficult time. And if you're nervous and want to check whether you're eligible for one of our courses, give our friendly team a call on this number. And D is, hi, you can find all vacancies for clearing here. If there's a particular university or course you're interested in, I'd recommend giving them a call as soon as possible. What are you looking to study, and what kind of universities have you looked at already? We're happy to help with any questions that you may have. Cool. So if you could just vote on which answer that you think is the best. Just give that a few more seconds to finish up. Okay, amazing. Yeah, that's really, really good to see. Everyone basically chose the correct answer, which is this one. So that's because, as you probably know, all of the others just read too much like an advertisement, which you definitely want to avoid. Whereas this response, they've helped the student out by signposting them in the right direction to find vacancies, and they've made a recommendation for the student to contact any universities that they're interested in. And they've also then shown an interest by asking them a question and mentioned that they're happy to help with any further questions. So it's kind of neutral and just being really supportive to a student who has asked a simple question. So just to reiterate some points on what to avoid, to help you make sure that your posts aren't received in the wrong way. So firstly, as I've kind of said, just don't make your post read too much like an advertisement. If a student posts about deciding between 2 different universities or 2 different courses, then don't only mention about where your course or university is ranked in league tables, because it's likely that the student already knows this and they're looking for something else. They're looking for a different perspective, and they'll benefit from advice from your university and the chance to speak to someone knowledgeable, rather than just kind of information that they might have looked up themselves. Also, it's important that you don't ignore the struggles that a student faces, and do make sure and remember that it is a kind of nervous time for students. They're likely feeling quite on edge, and so they are looking for people to sympathise with that. So just make sure you do address any struggles that they mention and find out how you can best support them. Also, sometimes we've seen a student looking for some advice on what to study or what to apply for in clearing, and a few different reps will reply saying things such as, "We have this course available in clearing if you'd like to call this number," but that does just lead to more confusion for the student, because they can easily find out information about the places available through the UCAS website, or you can recommend that they call the universities that they're interested in. But if they haven't mentioned you specifically, there's no need to advertise unnecessarily. It's better to understand what the student is thinking and learn more about their situation, so you can advise them and then answer any questions about your university if needed. So that will show that you're having a genuine interest, and again will support the student, but also lots of other people reading the post. So this is just a little response checklist to hopefully reiterate some of these things that I've talked about in terms of the examples for what to do and what's best to avoid. And so these are all things that are good to think about in every single post that you make across the site. So firstly, making sure that your tone of voice is friendly and helpful. Secondly, ensuring that you've understood and directly answered any questions that a student might have. Thirdly, making sure to answer a question in return, because this shows interest and allows you to provide the relevant advice. Also, to think about signing off the post with your name or something about yourself, just to help it be more relatable. And it's always best to read the post back to yourself as well, to think about how you would feel if you were a student receiving the information that you're giving. And in terms of the don'ts, it is best not to link off-site unnecessarily. Instead, try to continue the conversation on the site through asking questions and providing information that's relevant to the student to increase the engagement with them. And don't copy and paste the same response to multiple users, because just remember that every single student is in a different situation. They'll have looked into different things and have differing levels of knowledge. So again, it all comes back to understanding and finding out what they already know and what they're really asking. So yeah, just remember that the student room is best for engaging with students on a one-to-one level, and your rep account works best when you do that. So as long as you are seen as a helpful and supportive presence across the site and getting involved in lots of different conversations, then that will have a really positive effect in terms of engagement and the perception of your university. Then I do just want to go over a couple of things about support for official reps on the site. So if you do have any questions or advice, or want any advice about your posts on the site, then you can look into the official rep lounge and your official rep feedback thread. So you can tag Maple Leaf, Snow Princess 7 or Strawberry Dreams on the site and we'll be able to help you out. If you need help with sticking or unsticking threads from the top of your forum, then it's best to, again, post in the rep feedback thread, or you can email client services and we'll be able to do that for you. If you'd like some reminders about best practice on the site, then there are some resources on our site, TSR Matters. So you'll have the link to that after this as well, if you're not aware of it already. Do continue to join the Wednesday rep training sessions if you'd like a refresher on any of the key points. And we can also arrange bespoke training sessions if you'd find that helpful as well. And then in terms of monitoring engagement and having the data and insight for your rep accounts activity on the site, your monthly UPP report is best for this, and your account manager will be able to go through that in more detail with you. So just to finish up with some key takeaways, I'd recommend creating a clearing 2021 thread if you haven't done so already, as early in July as possible, because clearing opens on the 5th. So this should be a space for encouraging discussion, the opportunity for students to ask questions if they have any, and for your rep account to provide details for applicants in terms of contact details. It's important to make sure that you do have a presence on site, increasingly so around this time. Just congratulate every student that mentions you, if they've mentioned that they're applying to your university or if they've received an offer, and answer any direct questions that come in as well. It's great to have student ambassadors on board as well as staff members to offer different perspectives and get involved with a different kind of conversation on the site as well. And help students to make a balanced decision and support them in their choices. So again, explore conversation in your forum, but also across the site, and remember the key points about understanding what they're wanting to know and providing the information that's relevant to them. The quality of your response can really impact student engagement, so do read your post back to yourself and make sure that you're providing the correct information that students are wanting to know. So go through this response checklist again, just to make sure that you're posting in the best way to increase engagement. And do contact us if you do need any additional advice or support, because we're more than happy to help. So whether that's responding to students on site or thinking about your forum and sticking and unsticking threads, then we're more than happy to help out with anything there. So that's the end of the training. So I hope that was helpful, and thank you for listening. But do let us know if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, and Hulda and I will be able to answer those.
Thank you so much, Mallory. That was super interesting. Yeah, like the open-ended question stuff. I think that's super important. And I think as well, when you join conversations that aren't about your uni and you're just answering because you want to help out, I think that's when you can make a lot of impact for your brand. And especially like, just imagine them like going and talking to their friends like, oh my God, you'll never believe the university like replied to my post. Maybe some word of mouth and stuff as well, which I think is really amazing. But yeah, do we have any questions? Yes, so we'll upload the video onto TSR Matters, and then we can send the link around to everyone that was on the webinar today. And then you can share it internally with whoever you would like to share it with. And if you need any advice, like we said, then please get in touch with us. So if you want to go to the next slide, Mallory. Cool. So you can contact us directly. So our email addresses are there, or you can also just email directly into the client services email address, and we'll be able to get back to you on all of the questions. I think that might be, oh wait, I have one Q&A here. So do you think it's important to create, sorry, we just have a question, Mallory.
Oh, yes.
From Ola, I hope I'm saying that right. Do you think it's important to create a post about how a university supported students during pandemic? I mean, well-being supported, or it's not relevant anymore?
I think it could be worth doing, but not just for the sake of doing it. Just make sure perhaps that you're encouraging a discussion from that post. So maybe ask students how you think they could be better supported or what they would find useful, just because otherwise there may be kind of, obviously there are some frustrations around what's happened during the pandemic, so you don't want it to come across in a way that a university is trying to show what they did. You just want it to come across in a way that's that shows that you're being supportive. So I think that it is definitely worth doing. Make sure that you phrase it as a discussion, is what I'd say.
Yeah, perfect.
But yeah, if there are any other questions, feel free to pop them in.
Yeah, if not, we're always available, like I said, and the client services. I'll make sure that the client services email address is also in the blog post that will be sent around, so that you guys can just click on it and then contact us directly. But yeah, thank you all so much.
Thank you
And
very much.
super excited to see what you all achieve over clearing with the official wraps.
Yes, I just saw, what should I search on LinkedIn? Just our names.
Yeah. My name doesn't have all of the funny letters that it does at the beginning, so it's the normal letters. Brilliant. Thank you all so much. And yeah, if you want to check out any more webinars, you can just go into TSR Matters. Other than that, we shall see you all soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.